Welcome to day 25 of Inktober Tangles 2025. This is a lovely tangle from Zentangle Inc. It's a really versatile one because you can put lots and lots of different bits in at the bottom into the fillers, and it's just a fun one to draw. So I'm breaking with tradition for this one. Every single tile that I've created so far for Inktober Tangles has been one where I've done it on a Bijou tile, but today I feel like it deserves to have a bigger space. So we're just creating this zigzaggy shape that goes, I'm doing it diagonally. You could do it down like that way, you know, if your tile was just around the normal way that you might have it. And then once you've got your zigzaggy lines, we're going to go from the point of one zigzaggy line to halfway along the next zigzag line and create a triangular shape. And we're going to do that all the way down on each of these spaces. And this one's kind of disappearing off the tile, so we're just kind of imagining how that would be. And then when we turn the tile over, we're going to do exactly, rotate our tile around, we're going to do the exact same thing again. So we're just going from the point outside to halfway along the next zigzaggy line. And this just basically creates like a reticula, or otherwise known as a grid, for creating our tangles inside of. So ing is it is a tangle, but it's also like a string as well. And what I'm going to do inside each of these triangular shapes is I'm going to create an aura. So we'll end up with lots of triangles that we can add some fillers to. This tangle was, I want to say that Molly Hollybaugh deconstructed it. I'm not certain that it was Molly, but it was inspired by a sculpture that somebody had seen. I think it was outside of a university building, but don't quote me on that. But there's a photograph in the Zentangle blog post that came with the step outs for this tangle, and they shared the picture of what this sculpture looked like. I think it's quite interesting to see sometimes where people get their inspiration for different tangles. Sometimes they can be quite organic looking and it might be something in nature that's inspired a tangle, and then other times it's a bit more of a structured grid-like pattern. So I'm just going to keep this nice and simple and straightforward for today's video, because I like to keep these Inktober Tangles videos quite short and to the point. So I'm just going to add my very favourite filler for spaces like these, and that is basically drawing a half rice shape on the edge of each of these triangles, and then it's as if I'm smooshing a little orb into the centre. Just going to do that in each and every space. And some of these triangular spaces are obviously quite a bit smaller, but I think that adds to the effect that you get. So when I come to adding the shade and the highlight, it'll maybe be a bit trickier for some bits. And then you can see the smaller triangles that I've got, I've not actually got the little orb in the centre. Sometimes it's just too small of a surface. You can adapt these as you see fit, because it's your tangle to create. But there are so many ways. I don't know if you are new to Zentangle. Some of you will be new to Zentangle. Some of you will be tanglers. Some of you will be certified Zentangle teachers like myself. But Zentangle have a book, the primer book, and in there you will find all the different fragments that they came up with for filling in spaces like these. They've got fragments that can fit into square shapes, triangular shapes, circular shapes. But you know, the options are limitless. You could have fragments that go into hexagons, for example, and but just go onto the Zentangle website, or even better, like the YouTube page that they have. If you go and look for the fragments and reticula, you'll find loads of videos in there. This one I'm not doing the rice shapes because it would just be too small, basically. You just get lost. So I'm going to come in now with my pencil, and I usually put a bit of graphite on either end of each of these rice shapes, with the idea that I will shade out a little bit, you know, blend it all out into the middle of the rice shapes and have a little bit of a highlight. So I will end up adding some pastel pencil to this. Surprise, surprise, you know I love my pastel pencil. So I'm just coming back along each of these fragments, and then where the orbs are big enough, I'm just putting a little bit of graphite of a kind of smiley shape, smiley face shape, and then just be smoothing all the rice shape pencil lines out and the pencil inside of those orbs. And what I think I'm going to do for this one is that I'm going to come in on the outsides of some of them. I think I'll not go on all of them, but I'll go on some of them with a bit of the white pastel pencil. I'm just being very random with this. I mean, if you wanted to, you could use I think I said pastel pencil there. I'm not sure if I did or not. You might decide that you would like to go in with the jelly roll around all of the sides of each of these triangles. Sometimes it's just nice to just do a little bit of something different. And then just add some highlight here and there. You might not like this effect that I'm going with, and that's absolutely fine. If you would rather do something in your own way, then you can do that and just kind of take inspiration or the opposite of inspiration if you want. You think, no, I definitely don't like that what she's done. That's totally cool, I'll not be offended. I'm going to just put a bit of pastel pencil in. Why am I holding on to this? I'm making things awkward for myself. Putting the pastel pencil into these little orbs that we have. But then some of them are so small that it just gets lost a bit. So I'm just coming in with that jelly roll on the top, just to kind of make it a little bit more obvious. And I'm going to come in now and go around any lines that I think have been muted. I think I'll probably go around the original, like not the actual filler bits of these spaces, but you know, the original triangles of the ing string. I tend to like it when these lines are a bit more bold for some reason. But yeah, this one's a lot of fun. So I'm going to go now on one side of the edge of this ing and add some graphite, blending that all out with the blending stump. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the opposite, like putting this white here. I might even put the white a bit further up, like not all the way up, but a wee bit further up, just to see what that looks like. And then you're smoothing that into your tile. I quite like that. It's just like subtle. I mean, you could even fill that full half of the tile in with the white, but I quite like how it's got that gradient of the colour from the kind of white to the colour of the tile itself. And then I'm going to come in with my chop, and I'm going to do something a bit different today and put a kind of triangular shape around the outside of it, just because that looks a bit like the rest of the ing tangle. I'm going to put a little bit more shade in this. So there we have Ing by Zentangle Inc. I love that one. And tomorrow we will be doing Owl Peak by Susan Yo. So this is a cute one coming up, as you can see. And then we've got Midori Furuhashi the day after with Yid. So yeah, lots of great stuff to come up. So I've been doing videos for each of these days of the Inktober Tangle Challenge for this year. So if you would like to, if you haven't seen them yet, go and find them on my channel. I also have a playlist for the 2024 Inktober Tangles if you would like to have a look at any of those videos as well. So I'll hopefully see you again, and thank you so much for joining in with me today. Bye!